At first, it feels like just another concert. Lights dimmed, fans buzzing, and Chris Martin of Coldplay charming the crowd as always. But then, the jumbotron lights up. The kiss cam roams the arena, capturing laughing couples, some kissing shyly, others hamming it up. Then it pauses on two unexpected faces. Andy Byron, the former CEO of Astronomer, and Kristin Cabot, the company's chief people officer. They appear unusually close. Byron's arm draped around Cabot in what seems like a cozy moment. For a second, he grins, oblivious to the audience. But Cabot's reaction changes everything. She pulls away, hides her face, and Byron quickly ducks out of view. The crowd chuckles. Social media doesn't. It detonates. Within minutes, memes, reaction videos, and blurry screen recordings are everywhere, long before the show ends. Unaware of the frenzy unfolding online, Chris Martin jokes, "They're either in love or incredibly camera-shy, I can't tell." That offhand comment becomes headline material, quoted endlessly across blogs and news sites. Speculation erupts. Was this a secret relationship? An embarrassing misunderstanding? And most of all, why the silence? 3 days later, Byron quietly steps down. His name vanishes from the company's leadership roster. Cabot stays. No press release, no comments. But the internet already made up its mind. Now, Byron is suing Coldplay for $20 million, claiming the kiss cam incident was a humiliating ambush that wrecked his career and privacy. And the internet wants to know, if your worst moment is caught on camera, do you blame the camera or the moment you created? Imagine waking up to a phone full of memes, being labeled a cheater before you've even had your morning coffee. Friends are texting screenshots. Headlines are everywhere. That was Andy Byron's reality. The moment the kiss cam clip went viral, his identity shifted from respected CEO to the internet's newest joke. But here's where it gets complicated. Byron insists he had no idea he was being filmed, at least not until the damage was already done. Leaked court documents related to his $20 million lawsuit reveal a key argument. Coldplay had no permission to broadcast his face, much less magnify that moment to thousands in the arena and millions online. His lawyers are calling it a deliberate public shaming. They allege the band or their team intentionally zeroed in on him. Why? Because they knew who he was. A recognizable tech figure sitting beside someone other than his wife, in a packed arena teeming with cameras. What looked like an innocent hug, Byron claims, was private. But once it hit that jumbotron, it became viral bait. Without his consent, critics push back. They say it wasn't the hug. It was the reaction afterward that caught fire. Cabot pulling away, shielding her face. That moment, they argue, told a story, and the internet filled in the rest. So here's the conflict. When you're in public, how much privacy can you really expect? Should Coldplay be blamed for broadcasting a raw moment? Or is that just the cost of being a public figure in a hyper-connected world? And maybe the biggest question of all, if there was nothing wrong with the moment, why does Byron feel so exposed? Picture this. You're sitting quietly in the back of a packed concert hall when, without warning, your face fills the jumbo screen, not because you agreed to it, not because you were doing anything remarkable, but because someone behind a camera decided in a split second to zoom in. That's the heart of Andy Byron's $20 million lawsuit. His legal team isn't just accusing Coldplay of causing embarrassment, they're claiming negligence. In court filings, Byron says the band's crew violated standard protocols by broadcasting a private moment without asking for consent, visually or verbally. Sure, Coldplay fans might expect kiss cams and crowd shots at their shows, but Byron's lawyers argue there are limits, and this time, those boundaries were ignored. The fallout came fast. In less than 2 days, Byron stepped down from his role as CEO of Astronomer, a major data firm. To make matters worse, a fake apology, mockingly quoting Coldplay lyrics, circulated online, falsely credited to him. That hoax only intensified things, and Byron believes Coldplay's silence allowed it to spiral unchecked. His lawsuit now claims the incident didn't just take his job, it shattered his reputation, disrupted his mental health, and could destroy future opportunities. Meanwhile, public reaction is divided. Some think Byron is blowing things out of proportion, using a lawsuit to dodge consequences for a messy moment. Others see his case as a necessary pushback against the entertainment industry's growing disregard for personal privacy in the age of viral content. So the real question becomes, if your private life was turned into a public spectacle, would you walk away quietly, or would you fight the people who made it happen? The courtroom falls silent as Andy Byron's lawyers present what they claim is their strongest piece of evidence yet, a set of internal emails and footage logs from the Coldplay concert production team. According to the documents, the crew had full access to delay features, tools that could have stopped the Kiss Cam feed with the press of a button, but they didn't. The filings allege they had nearly 10 seconds to cut the broadcast once it became clear the moment was getting uncomfortable. Instead, they let it play out. The camera stayed focused long enough to capture Kristin Cabot turning away in discomfort, covering her face, and Byron slipping out of view. The crowd's laughter filled the arena, but for Byron, it was the exact second his public and professional life started to collapse, and the fallout was immediate. At Astronomer, Byron's company, employees were already sharing screenshots of the moment in Slack threads before the concert had even ended. Morale plummeted. Anonymous staffers said the lack of any response from Byron only made things worse. Whispers turned into rumors, not just about the alleged affair, but about whether leadership at the company would try to bury the entire incident. Then the attention turned to Chris Martin's now infamous remark from the stage. Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. What may have been a lighthearted comment, Byron's legal team now calls a megaphone. They argue it cemented the internet's worst assumptions, turning a painful moment into a punchline, one amplified by a global superstar. And now the question echoes. If someone as influential as Chris Martin jokes about your personal life in front of millions, how do you ever reclaim your reputation? Does the responsibility fall on the band for letting it happen? Or is that just the risk of living a public life? You're seated in the courtroom gallery as a tech privacy expert steps up to the witness stand, clicking through a presentation that reveals a disturbing picture. What began as a simple Kiss Cam controversy is now evolving into something much bigger. A spotlight on how live audience footage may be strategically used for digital gain. The expert walks the court through how today's stadium cameras aren't just about capturing fun moments. They're part of a larger media machine. Footage is often scanned, rated, and cued by software that detects what might go viral. In short, what you think is spontaneous could actually be curated for engagement. Byron's legal team wastes no time. They argue this wasn't an accidental moment caught on camera. It was a deliberate move. They claim the production team saw the potential shock value and chose to air an intimate, loaded interaction that would spark views, shares, and headlines. The result? A viral firestorm that torched Byron's marriage, reputation, and career. Online, the reaction is as polarized as ever. One viral post reads, "If you don't want it exposed, don't do it." Others push back. That's not a joke. It's digital ambush. Even some jurors begin to shift uncomfortably in their seats. The case is no longer just about alleged infidelity. It's about whether Coldplay's team crossed a line. Did they use their reach to publicly shame someone for content? Was this entertainment or exploitation? And now, the question is unavoidable. Where does the boundary lie between a crowd moment and a private violation? If your worst moment is broadcast to the world without your say, do you hold someone accountable or just try to survive the spotlight? The courtroom hushes again as a digital forensics expert, specializing in live video broadcast systems, takes the stand. He speaks calmly, confidently, and pulls up a frame-by-frame breakdown of the concert's video feed. "This wasn't random," he states. "There was a delay buffer. That means someone saw the footage and chose to let it air." You can feel the shift in the room. That one sentence, "someone chose to let it air," reframes everything. What once looked like a spontaneous kiss, cam fluke, now appears to be a conscious decision made behind the scenes. He continues, outlining a critical timeline. The production team had a full 7 seconds to pull the moment before it hit the jumbotron. But they didn't. They broadcasted it to the crowd and the world. The big question becomes, why? Byron's legal team jumps in, pointing to internal messages, crew training manuals, and production notes. These documents show a clear directive. Camera operators were told to seek out emotionally charged or interesting reactions in the crowd. At major events like this, it's a common tactic, but one that walks a fine line between storytelling and surveillance. Then comes the shocker. An anonymous crew member submitted a statement saying they were routinely told to capture moments that were funny, flirty, or unusual right before each chorus, just in case it looked good online. The courtroom is silent. Byron sits still, like he knew this was coming all along. And now, people inside and outside the courtroom are left to wrestle with a tough truth. Did Coldplay's team exploit a moment for digital gain? Or was Byron simply caught in a moment of poor judgment, now looking for someone else to blame? If your most questionable action became the internet's newest meme, would you fight to reclaim your dignity or accept the damage and disappear? You scan the courtroom, sensing that everything's building toward a final climax. Byron's attorneys rise, calm, collected, and razor-sharp. No theatrics, just facts, laid out with precision. They guide the jury through each moment. The embrace on camera, the decision to air it, the explosion of online reactions, and the personal fallout that followed. They don't preach guilt or innocence. They zero in on intention. He never agreed to be filmed. He never gave permission. And that clip wasn't just shown. It was amplified, mocked, and monetized, the lead attorney says, clicking through a slideshow of viral tweets, YouTube thumbnails, and headlines, cashing in on his downfall. The jury watches closely, some jotting notes, others visibly tense. Coldplay's defense steps in, painting a different picture. To them, it wasn't targeted. It was tradition. We celebrate the crowd, their lawyer says. None of it is rehearsed. It's real emotion captured in real time. But Byron's side makes it clear. This isn't about the kiss cam. It's about the consequences. A broken marriage, a lost career, the relentless memes that made him a character in a story he never chose to tell. All, he claims, because someone made the wrong call behind the camera. As the judge prepares to adjourn for the day, he pauses, then offers a statement that hangs in the air like a warning. In an era of instant virality, we must not forget, every pixel has a person behind it. Outside, the press waits, social media spins, and the world asks a deeper question. At public events, should you be prepared to lose your privacy? Because if a 30-second clip can wreck your life, is the concert still worth the ticket?